بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. One thing, one principle we need to keep in our minds at all times, always, whenever we do anything, is that we make sure and we think and we ponder, are we doing what according to our knowledge or according to the guidance that we have been given, either from our own knowledge or mashura of our elders and more learned people? Are we doing what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us? Or are we simply doing what feels the best? Are you following me? Because our responsibility is that at all times we look to see what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want from us at this time. And then many times, there may be an ibadah or something which seems better, more enjoyable, maybe more virtuous just because of the virtues that we have heard. And maybe something more mundane, more boring, not as enjoyable, doesn't seem as virtuous. But that is the demand of the time. For example, let's say, for example, you have a very sick parent, and that very sick parent needs you to be at home, because not like sick like a headache or they're sleeping or something, but like they need assistance, like to go to the toilet. They're like very, very ill. Somebody's in a hospital. Now at that time, depending on the sickness and depending on the situation, somebody else there's another person to help out or not. In certain situations, not performing salah with jama'ah is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from you. That is somebody very, very ill. Nobody else will look after them right now. And they are at risk of falling, of maybe injuring themselves, hurting themselves. So you need to be there right now, there. So the sharia and the demand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala right now is not to go to the masjid to perform salah. It's to stay at home. And something that happens like this as well in joining courses, going for bayan, going for jama'ah, spending time in a bayan. You have to see what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want from us. So for example, one person messaged me today, his wife's unwell. So the sickness is quite severe, make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala afiyah. So I told him that the mashura right now is don't attend madrasa. Leave this course, suspend it, pause it. Because there's nobody to look after somebody who is in need of help. And that person has nobody else to assist her. So what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want from you right now? Not to come to do a nafil course. A course is voluntary. To assist somebody who is in need and struggling to because of the illness, that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from you. It may seem there's more glitter. I'm doing Quran translation, I'm doing hadith. There's more glitter, there's more glamour, there's more enjoyment in that. But is that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from you? And along with this, sometimes we have to understand that it doesn't matter if a job is mundane or is boring, it doesn't seem as enjoyable. But these are things that are very, very important. And sometimes we don't make sure we don't overburden ourselves. Like for example, if you look at after teaching, like let's say for example, the first year you're teaching as a teacher, you teach the first year, second year, third year. After 4 or 5 years, you know the book by heart. Like you can teach the book inside out, you know it is mutala, you know it, it's easy. But because that mundane job of teaching the same thing over and over again is you're preparing somebody for the next generation. You have a teacher in madrasa teaching alif, ba, ta, ta to new kids every year for 15, 20 years. It gets mundane. Like it's nothing like, but that is such an important job. And sometimes we tend to underestimate how important certain jobs are. Sometimes people feel, oh, I'm just at home, I don't do anything, I'm just taking my kids to madrasa. I want to do something more important. If you can, you have the time, you have the energy, your work circumstance allow, your family circumstance allow, that's fine, nur al-anur. But just being there for your children when school finishes, just being there to make them learn the sabak between school and madrasa, getting to madrasa on time, bringing them back home on time, making sure food is ready for them, doing homework with them. There's no glamour in this. You can't post on social media, hashtag doing homework with the kids, hashtag making sandwiches. And you yourself don't even feel like, oh, I've done something. But these things are very, very important. Just being able to create stability in the home. Whether as a father, if you are home to spend time with the kids, help them out. The mother, getting things ready. All of these things are very, very important. Don't underestimate anything. Even in institute, somebody's job is to do data entry. I think, oh, this is so boring. Somebody has to do this. So don't ever underestimate what you are doing. So you always have to look, is my going to this program, this lecture, attending this course, is it going to bring the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Or is it just that I feel good and it makes me feel important? It makes me feel like I'm doing something good, whilst in reality, there's something more important to be done. As in the case of this person who mentioned about his wife being very, very unhealthy, and I told him that, no, don't attend. You stop your course right now. This is more important. And sometimes, again, everybody's situation is different. You do more shura. But don't think that, just because I'm just at home, and you can't see a glamour or the glitter behind the things that you do, the daily routine that you do. Don't think of this as being a waste of time. All of this, remember, we have to, when we see these, maybe these vlogs, these clips, these kind of, it's a really like, I don't even know what to say sometimes, like almost like a joke. So I saw one recently, like, again, you have the nasheed in the background, and 3:50 waking up, having coffee on. Then after that, they have zikr, they have like little clips. They have a zikr book, and at 4 o'clock they're doing dua, and then having a bath, then they're doing, what you call it, what's that writing called? Journal, subhanAllah, you're doing journal. Then after that, they have fajr, and then after that, they pray ishraq. And this is the wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And on top of this, there's so much ibadah they're doing, that they have time to make the videos and edit the videos. So it's just a delusion. So I'm not saying that, don't wake up at tahajjud. But I'm saying that people may see this and they live on some kind of mountain hills with a pool in front of them. So you see this and you think, this is not possible. If you have so much time to perform your dhikr and your tilawah, who makes the videos for you? Are you following? So maybe this person is doing this, Allahu alam. But what I'm saying is that sometimes you think, this is what I need to do. Sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes somebody may get to Allah's pleasure by teaching alif ba. Just every year you got 15 kids who misbehave, who don't know how to sit in class. You have to teach them how to wash themselves after relieving themselves, and alif ba. That's your job, that's the syllabus. Teach them tawheed, teach them alif ba, and you wash yourself when you finish relieving yourself. That's the syllabus. That is now you making the next generation. And somebody may gain Allah's pleasure by teaching Bukhari. Somebody may gain Allah's pleasure by petitioning against oppression. It's everything. So don't ever underestimate what you have to do. And look, at this time, what is the muqtada? What is the demands of Islam? What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want from me right now? Not just what has the glitter, what has the glamour, what I feel like doing. Yeah? So sometimes people join. You need to analyze, is this going to bring the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Or am I just doing this to feel good? I can say, I've done a course, I've done this book, I've done that, I've done this. No, you're not doing it for name. You're not doing it. As I said, people ask, is there, what do you call it, certificate after you finish? Give you a certificate, it has no value. Certificate, people want to see you, what you have inside of you. So the character you have inside of you, the doing what Allah demands from you. This is what is required, not doing things. I'm not telling anybody to leave and drop, but you have to always reanalyze your situation. Not the younger kids, you have your parents are looking after you, don't have much things to do. But those people who are married, who have children, who have work, you also have to reanalyze your situation. That am I fulfilling everybody else's rights, which is muqaddam and more important? And number 2, is my health allowing it? And am I punishing myself? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ghani. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want us to punish ourselves. You're stressful, you're stressed out, you've got too much work, you have a child, you have family work. If you can't do it, and really, especially the elders sometimes, they don't put too much pressure on yourself. Your health is muqaddam, your health is most important. And if you have circumstances, you can do it, nur ala nur. But always have to reassess in everything we do. Whether it's a big decision, like joining a course, leaving a course, whether it's what you do right now, whether even when you're walking in the street, in me doing this action right now, what brings the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? If the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going for umrah, you go for umrah. If your pleasure is staying at home and you have an ill parent and you have to help them change their nappies, that is the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is more better than going for umrah. What does Allah want from you right there and then? Always analyze this. You can go for umrah and glitter and glamour, in haram, in Medina, you feel really good. And here you're doing a khidmah of your parents, it's very boring, and it's a bit difficult, you don't like it, you don't enjoy it, but that will bring you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So all the time you have to analyze, what does Allah want from me? Not necessarily what is glitterous, that's not a word, what is glittering or what is glamorous. Do you understand? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us subhanallah wa bihamdihi subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.